Hey everyone, how are you doing? Well, it's the end of January 2020 here, and I apologize that I did not put together many videos last year during the fishing season. Frankly, I was so busy outside of fishing that I didn't think I'd even have time to put the videos together, and I did take some footage, but I never had the chance to even make a video out of them. So basically, I'm sorry for that. And the reason I'm apologizing now is because I realized looking at the YouTube Studio app that I have 77 subscribers to my channel, which by many standards is very low. But for the fact that I'm just some average guy in the Midwest who started a little fishing channel, it's amazing actually to me. So thank you very much for the 77 subscribers that I currently have, and hoping that more follow. I guess I'm telling you something you guys want to know. So with that said, what I think I'll do with this video is touch on the highlights from last season, which in our club, the last two events, the last regular season event and then our classic, I was able to win them. So what I thought I'd do with this video is go through where we were. Lake Springfield was our classic, and the tournament before that was on the Mississippi in Pool 14, which was practice for the IBN state tournament. But because I had some success, I figured, you know what, let me share that information with you guys. I have a couple pictures, of course, from the events, the trophies, and the fish that I caught. And I figured I'll go on Google Maps and point out where I was and how everything was setting up, and maybe that'll help some of you catch some fish on these bodies of water if you ever go back there. But let's get started. Thanks. All right, so here we are. This is going to be for Pool 14, all right, which is not a very popular body of water apparently in the fishing community in Illinois. But since that's where we were for the state tournament, our club, the Prairie State Bassmasters, decided to fish it before that. So I went up here for 3 weeks, 2 weeks before our club tournament. I went with my wife the one weekend, 2 weeks before we launched in Albany here. And I had never been on this pool, so I figured I'll just look around. Tried to fish pretty much right across the river. Check this out. Went south a little bit down into here. And some of the, there's kind of like these backwater things down here. Check that out. Didn't really have any luck. So then we went north. And I was able to get up to about here. There's this, where is it? Here you go. There's this little marina thing over here. Okay. And pulling in here, got some bites. Got one bite off of a lay down in this little cut, and then another bite. It's like, okay, cool. Made my way around here, and it gets super shallow, at least it did at this time. And the water is coming in, of course, from the north here, hitting this point of this little island, and then created a sand pile over here. So my boat's in here, and I'm fishing, and I decided to try throwing a buzzbait, and had a nice blow up over here. Fished around for a little bit longer, and never caught the fish. But that stuck in my head. So that was the 2 weeks before the tournament. The week before, I came out and I tried fishing a little more, just all around really, and didn't really have any luck again. It was kind of a bust. And so the Saturday before the tournament, then the week of the tournament was it was on a Sunday. I decided to go all the way up to the lock because I hadn't been that far yet, up to the lock and dam at Fulton, and start playing around in here. And I bumped into one of our club members, Dan Brown, on the way up there, and he had said, yeah, I found some stuff. They were on some wood or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go up by the lock and play around. So I played around. I fished down in here in the tail race a little bit. Didn't really have any luck there. Fished along this little island down here. Didn't have any luck here. And then I very carefully idled over into this little thing. And there's some laydowns over here in the water and trees all in here, and then a couple laydowns over here. And I started getting bit on my black and blue jig. And I had the hooks covered, or the hook covered, so I just shook them off. There was a guy keeping on a boat behind me and caught one somewhere over here. And then a couple of club members came in their boat, and I immediately parked the boat up on the bank in the tree where I had 2 or 3 that I shook off. And I just played it off like, yeah, you know, I'm just checking it out. Nothing much yet. And they turned around and left. And luckily they didn't come in here and fish this whole thing. I kept making my way through here that morning and pitching up towards the bank, towards any wood. And I had 6 or 7 more bites. Shook them all off. And one, I saw it up shallow and it was a pretty big fish. Then another club member was fishing his way up the chute here from this side. And he says, hey, did you get anything in here? I said, well, I haven't caught anything yet. So I told him, you know, I haven't fished the inside bank. I don't know if you wanted to do that. And he did. He went across and fished the inside bank a little bit. And I guess he didn't get much because the tournament day, I was the only one in here. Came in here tournament morning, and with my co-angler, we started pitching to all the wood that I had gotten bit on the day before. Only didn't get any bites. They moved off the wood and were a little bit deeper, so I had to work my black and blue jig down into probably 5 to 8 feet, and that's where I got bit. Caught a couple fish that way. Then with the grass that was on the water, I started throwing my frog over in here. And picked one off there, threw my frog against the bank over here, right at the undercut, and I was able to catch one there. And I caught my 5th fish right back over here again, right up under the undercut from where the water comes in like this, boom, and hits there. It kind of undercut the bank there, and there was some laydowns, so I pitched in there and was able to catch my 5th fish. My co-angler got one in here after putting on the jig that I was using, because after I got my 5th, I let him have one of my jigs, tied it on, and within 20 minutes he had a fish. So then we left. It was close to noon at that time, if not later, maybe 1 o'clock. We make our way back down here to where I had that blow up 2 weeks before on that buzzbait. We idled in here, turned the boat around, and I started throwing that buzzbait over this point where the water's hitting, you know, into it here. Soon as at like maybe the 5th cast, my buzzbait came from over here off the drop off, and there's like a hole down in here, right? Boom! It was like a 3.5 maybe, called from like a 1.5 pounds, which was awesome. So put that thing in the box, buzzed out of there, made it back down to the weigh-in, and that was that. Weighed in and ended up winning the tournament, which was totally awesome. All right, so next let's talk a little bit about Springfield. This was our classic for the club, 2-day event, but I didn't have time to go up and practice. So, showed up Friday evening, go on the water. We launched Saturday morning at the sailboat launch, and we take off from over there, over near the Lindsay Bridge. All right, so here's the Lindsay Bridge, the Lindsay boat launch, but we actually launched out of the, well, I guess it wasn't the sailboat launch officially, but this little thing over here. And we take off, and I decided to go over this way. Now, what I really wanted to do was to fish the retreads, if you will, on this side. But I knew the wind was blowing really hard up from the southwest that morning. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to go try this bank over here. I fished from where it kind of shallows out towards this end. And the riprap. Never had a bite. Started with top water, then I tried throwing a chatterbait and a little swim bait around for a little, maybe an hour. Didn't have any bites, so I made my way over to this side that I wanted to start at. Well, there was another club member over here. The waves were pounding into this shoreline here. I almost fell off the boat 3 times in the first 30 seconds trying to just stand up in the waves. So I have a smaller boat, as you may remember, so I was like, you know what, screw this, and I got out of there. And I went across to over here where it was a little bit protected. Kind of kept the boat hidden behind the land here, the point, and started casting off this point, and then making my way down into here and around, and boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Finally, right in about here, I caught my first keeper, and it had a sexy shad square bill 1.5 down its throat. So after throwing topwater, spinner baits, chatterbaits, swim baits, and the square bill and deep diving crankbaits and the 3XD and a regular series 3, you know, for the first 2.5 hours, it was now 8:15, and I finally had a fish, and he choked that thing. All right, so what I decided to do after that was to keep fishing up along this bank. So made my way all the way into this little pocket and back out, and over here into this little pocket, and there was a bunch of chat activity around the bridge. Couldn't get a bite. Went all the way up along here, just trying to figure out, you know, where I can get some more bites. And because that fish had that sexy shad square bill down his throat so far, I threw that like 80% of the time now, but still mixed in some of these other baits. I went around here, you know, it's October. I'm thinking maybe they're starting to push back into the pockets. So I fished down into here a little bit. I didn't like that, so I kind of went back up and started my way up this bank, and eventually catch another fish right off the main lake area somewhere up in here. Okay, cool. And it was near riprap, when there's rocks in the, you know, on the main lake, is where I caught both those fish, right? So I'm like, well, okay, nothing convincing yet, so let me make my way into a pocket again, and like nothing, make my way all the way back into the hot water area over here, nothing. Go across the lake, oh, I'm sorry, the hot water area is over here. Go across the lake into the little cut here, fish a couple of those. As I'm making my way out of one of these cuts towards the main lake, boom, I get another fish. So now I've got 3. It's like noon. All of them were on that square bill, and never did get another bite on anything else. Not even, you know, not even a whiff on anything else. So at the end of that day, I weighed in 3 fish, and I'm in 3rd place, I believe. Mike Green had a limit the first day. Kaz had 3 fish that were, I don't know, a couple ounces, maybe a half a pound more than I had, and I'm sitting in 3rd. All right, day 2, repeat of day 1. But since all my fish came on that square bill, I think, okay, here we're gonna throw this 98% of the day and see what happens. So start again, fish my way over here, fish along this bank, just rip rap on, you know, main lake kind of stuff. Nothing. Good around in here. I try to stay away from the, you know, going into the pockets, since the fish from the day before all came closer to the mouths of them anyway. So fish around this point, kind of skip across here, get around to this point and this dock, and the wind is howling again from the southwest. So blowing right across this point. I take my square bill and I throw it up this way along this bank as I'm fishing up this way. Boom, I get one right about here. As I'm fighting the fish, get it in the boat, It's a keeper, and the boat just drifts off, you know, with the wind way out here somewhere. So I jump down, hook up the vest, fire up the motor, and turn around and come back to about here. Jump off, get the trolling motor, get back on the trolling motor, and start fishing this point again. Get about to where I caught the one, and 3 or 4 or 5 casts maybe, boom, catch another one. I'm like, this is awesome. So now I got 2 fish in the boat. It's about 9:15. And both those basically came within a minute or 2 of each other, so that was great. After that, I decided, okay, well, let me keep fishing around here. I fished on this bank a little bit. This is kind of, you know, main lake-ish. And get my way around here, skip over to this point, skip over to this point. And then I thought this looked extra good, so I was going to go back to this one. And I did. And I ended up catching my 3rd fish. So, again, on the square bill. Mixed in a couple other baits because as the day progressed, the wind was still blowing, but the sun started coming out, and then it, you know, it was just conditions were changing. So I was trying some different stuff a little bit. But I pretty much decided, you know, I knew I was going to stick with that square bill most of the day. So that was the majority of it. There's a deeper bank right over here that there's this dock right here. Okay, and it's kind of a lone dock. So this caught my attention. So I'm coming up this bank, and right in here, it gets to like, this dock is sitting in 15 feet of water at the end of it here. One of the deeper docks on the main lake with the rocks and all right in here. So fighting off the wind, I decided I'm going to fish this a little bit harder. And sure enough, eventually, I ended up catching another fish in here. So now I have 4. It's like 11 a.m. I've got 4 fish, all sticking to the same pattern, main lake-ish, rocky areas, you know, which was great because I didn't have to figure something new out for the next day. So after that, I fished around a little more, you know, another hour. So it ended up over in here, though. Decided to go across the lake and fish in here. And there is, let me make sure this is the right, yeah. Okay, so there's a big flat up on this end of the, up near this shoreline. And what I did was I just worked it up and down a few times and in the last hour, and it actually ended up catching a 5th fish again on the square bill. They didn't want it moving fast. It was a weird bite. Like I had to, all the fish, I was slow rolling it, let's say, you know, kind of jerk bait-ish kind of action. But that was how I got them. So I get to the end of the day, make my way back to the ramp, and I'm fishing around the ramp, and Ramel, our tournament director, says, how many you got? I said, I got 5. He says, really? My green only has 3. I said, what? Or 2 even. I don't remember now. Sorry, I should have remembered, but I didn't. So I see Kaz over here. Kaz is fishing. He catches his 3rd fish off of the dock area over here. And I find out now he only has 3. And I'm thinking, man, you know what? This could be close. Well, we end up doing the weigh-in right over here up by the Lindsay Bridge. And it turned out I had enough to win the tournament. So I ended up winning the 2 weeks before at Mississippi, and then our club classic on Lake Springfield. And I am super proud of that. I can't even believe it, to be honest with you. I just kind of got lucky, I guess, but figured something out just enough anyway. So hopefully that kind of helps anyone out who wants to fish these bodies of water. If you guys haven't been to these lately, or you don't fish them often, there's a little bit of at least what happened the end of September or in September and October in 2019. All right, well, there you have it. 2 tournament wins with the club, and I'm ecstatic. You know, it's been a few months now. It's like I said, January, and I'm still in awe that I was able to pull that off. So grateful to be a part of such a fantastic club. All the guys in this club are awesome, really good guys. We all share information for the most part, at least after the tournament, maybe not before so much, but that's one of the nice things about the club. You know, there's just a great group of guys who are trying to help each other fish better the next time they go out. So that's kind of what inspired me to do this video and maybe help all you folks out too. So thanks for subscribing, for those that did. If you haven't subscribed and you see this video, click subscribe, click like, ask me any questions you want in the comments, and I will try to reply as quick as I can. But thanks again for all the support, and we'll see you on the water in 2020.